Oh, okay.
Like, because you got to remember, my time is delayed with the public. So it's really me taking a step back. Like once I get done with the mastering, I try at least to give myself at least a week without listening at all to the record, just so I could come back fresh, listen to it from top to bottom. You know what I mean? It's different when you in it and when you're doing the songs and you change the stuff at the last minute and you do. You know what I mean? It's different to come back and listen. And then what I mean by time is I have to put myself on the time of everybody else, the listener, to know, okay, this record's been out this long, it's too old. You know, when you're making suggestions on what to do, you got to remember the point of view of me having listened to this song for months and months and months, and then that is new to somebody else. Mm-hmm. So I got to put myself back into that same moment where I heard Empire State of Mind for the first time, and that's all I was listening to all day. Like now, people are at that point. You know what I mean? So it's just for my own personal, you know what I mean, my internal timing with the people.
Right. Is there a record that you said that you will never listen to again?
Of Jay's?
Yeah.
It's a bunch of records. But, you know what I'm saying? It's just because there's any artist, they make stuff that's just not my taste. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to particularly, like, listen to Sunshine again or Bonnie and Clyde. You know what I'm saying? But it's just because those particular records aren't my taste. But there's too many records that I do listen to over and over again to, you know what I'm saying, for them couple of records. That's another point too, is like Jay gets held, and I do this too, Jay gets held on a higher scale because it's really only like 2 or 3 mistakes on that album, and that album could have been a classic. But it's like, because it's Jay, because it is them 2 or 3 mistakes, then it's like, oh, well, it's, you know what I mean? Like, anybody else that had all the rest right and only got 2 or 3 wrong, we would be jumping up and down about the album. So it's like, you know, it's just because we hold him at this super high level. Right. And then we have all this other material that we could just go run to. I listen to the more like hardcore joints just because naturally that's, you know what I mean, what I like. So I listen to, you know, like Lyrical Exercise and You Don't Know remix and, you know, the harder joints.
Is there anything from your mixes that you wish that you could have done different after you listened to them?
All the time, yeah. But it is what it is. It's like that's what it is at the moment of what you felt. You know what I mean? You could always go back and be like, yo, I could have did this, I could have did that, but it wouldn't have been that record. You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't have been that record. You might have did something different. Like you can't. You know what I'm saying? The mistakes that you make get you to this point. You wouldn't be you if you went back and corrected your mistakes.
Right.
So it is what it is. Like I've learned the approach that I've learned, or I wish I had known the approach that I have now back then. And I wouldn't necessarily mean that from like change an EQ or make a snare higher or a kick thump more, but just the approach of how I attack mixing a record now is so much easier and faster than when I first started, and it's all just how you think about it, of approaching the record. It's hard for me to explain if you don't mix records, but it's just like my approach is a lot faster. You know what I'm saying? If everything is right in the session, which rarely happens, but if everything is right in the session, you know what I'm saying? It takes me like 3 or 4 hours to like really get in the groove, get something sounding nice, if there's no like major problems of me having to fix sounds and, you know, which always happens. But once I have the record together the way it's supposed to be, and you give me like 3 or 4 hours, then I'm gonna be in a nice little